In the modern age, where satellites circle the Earth and smartphones link billions, it's easy to assume that every corner of our planet has been mapped, explored, and integrated into the global network. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Scattered across dense rainforests, remote islands, and rugged mountains, there are tribes who live in complete isolation, some by choice, others by circumstance. They remain untouched by modern society, preserving traditions that date back thousands of years. Their languages, customs, and beliefs are unlike anything you've ever seen. Today, we'll uncover the stories of uncontacted or highly isolated tribes that continue to live as if time stood still. These groups remind us that even in a hyper-connected world, there are still mysteries left on Earth, cultures living in silence, far from the noise of the modern world. Let's begin our journey deep in the Andaman Sea. The Sentinelese tribe. Location: North Sentinel Island, Bay of Bengal. Hidden among the emerald waters of the Indian Ocean lies North Sentinel Island. Part of India's Andaman and Nicobar Islands, this place is home to one of the most mysterious and hostile tribes on Earth, the Sentinelese. For over 60,000 years, the Sentinelese have inhabited the island, resisting all contact with outsiders. They are among the last people completely untouched by modern civilization. Little is known about their language, customs, or numbers, as every attempt to approach them has been met with aggression. In 2006, 2 fishermen who accidentally drifted too close were killed. Even government helicopters flying overhead have been met with arrows. India has since declared the island off-limits. No visitors. No photos. No exceptions. The Sentinelese are believed to be hunter-gatherers, relying on the island's resources, coconuts, fish, wild pigs, for survival. Their complete isolation means they have no immunity to common diseases, making even a friendly visit potentially deadly. You can glimpse North Sentinel Island via satellite imagery on Google Earth, and see rare footage from documentaries and government archives on platforms like Getty Images and YouTube channels such as BBC Earth and National Geographic. But that's as close as anyone should ever get. The Korowai tribe. Location: Papua, Indonesia. In the deep jungles of southeastern Papua, Indonesia, lives a tribe that remained completely unknown to the outside world until the late 1970s, the Korowai. Surrounded by dense rainforests and rivers that twist like serpents through the land, the Korowai people build their homes high above the ground, sometimes up to 40 meters in the treetops, to avoid floods, insects, and, according to some reports, rival clans. For decades, rumors about the Korowai painted them as fierce and mysterious. Early explorers described rituals involving ancestor spirits, shamanic traditions, and, controversially, acts of cannibalism believed to be tied to spiritual beliefs rather than survival. Unlike the Sentinelese, the Korowai have had limited contact with anthropologists, journalists, and documentary teams. But even so, much of their culture remains intact. They live without electricity, phones, or machinery. Their tools are crafted from wood, stone, and bone. Their language is unique, and their belief systems deeply rooted in the forest. In recent years, some Korowai have started interacting with nearby villages and even participating in tourism. However, many still live in complete isolation, choosing to keep the ancient ways alive in parts of the jungle rarely, if ever, touched by outsiders. Footage of the Korowai's elevated treehouses and lifestyle can be found in documentaries by Discovery Channel, Vice, and BBC, offering a rare look into a culture that has survived unchanged for thousands of years. The images of their towering wooden homes perched among the canopy are both stunning and haunting, a reminder of how adaptable and resilient human life can be in the most remote corners of the earth. Their world, high above the jungle floor, is a testament to survival, tradition, and mystery, protected not by walls, but by distance and determination. Mashco Piro tribe. Location: Manu National Park, Peru, Amazon rainforest. Hidden beneath the thick green canopy of the Peruvian Amazon lies a tribe that the world knows almost nothing about, the Mashco Piro. They are a nomadic people, moving through the dense and dangerous forests of Manu National Park, an area so remote and untamed that even seasoned biologists and researchers rarely venture into its deepest parts. The Mashco Piro have long resisted contact with the outside world. For most of the 20th century, their existence was considered mere rumor, spoken of by neighboring tribes and hinted at in fleeting sightings. It wasn't until the 21st century that photographs and video footage confirmed what many had only speculated. The Mashco Piro were not just real, but thriving deep in isolation. They are known to be hunter-gatherers, relying on fishing, hunting small game, and harvesting forest fruits. Their shelters are simple, temporary structures made of palm leaves and wood. Their tools and weapons, mostly bows and arrows, are handmade, and their clothing is minimal, adapted to the sweltering heat and humidity of the Amazon. Contact with the Mashco Piro is not only discouraged, it is prohibited by Peruvian law. The government recognizes the extreme danger of disease transmission, especially to isolated groups with no immunity to common illnesses. Sadly, a few encounters with outsiders have already resulted in violent clashes and fatalities, including the killing of a park ranger. From time to time, the tribe emerges near riverbanks or edges of villages, likely due to environmental pressures or displacement. These appearances offer rare opportunities to observe them, though always from a distance. Drones, long-lens cameras, and aerial surveys have captured some of the only visuals available, many of which can be found through organizations like Survival International, Amazon Watch, and occasionally in investigative documentaries on YouTube and Vice World News. The Mashco Piro's continued isolation stands as both a mystery and a mirror, a reflection of what humanity looked like before the noise, lights, and metal of civilization. The Yanomami tribe. Location: Amazon rainforest, Brazil and Venezuela. The Yanomami people are among the largest relatively isolated tribes in South America, with a population of roughly 35,000 spread across the dense Amazon rainforest along the border between Brazil and Venezuela. While many Yanomami have had contact with the outside world through humanitarian and environmental efforts, some subgroups remain completely isolated, living in the deepest parts of the forest with no known contact or communication with the modern world. These isolated Yanomami subgroups are believed to maintain the same traditional way of life as their ancestors did thousands of years ago. They live in large communal structures called shibonos, which are circular houses made from palm leaves and wood, sheltering dozens of individuals under one massive roof. The community shares everything: food, tools, and responsibilities, with a tightly knit social structure bound by kinship and oral tradition. Their way of life is centered around the forest. They are skilled hunters, fishermen, and gardeners, cultivating bananas, cassava, and other essential crops. Their spiritual world is deeply rooted in shamanism, with rituals involving the use of hallucinogenic plants to connect with the spirit world. Illnesses, in their belief system, often have supernatural causes, and healing requires both medicinal plants and spiritual intervention. Despite the growing global awareness of the Amazon, the Yanomami's isolated groups are increasingly threatened by illegal gold mining, deforestation, and disease brought in by outsiders. In some cases, miners have violently clashed with indigenous communities, leading to tragedy and displacement. For this reason, access to their territory is highly restricted and monitored by FUNAI, Brazil's National Indian Foundation, and various international advocacy groups. Visuals of the Yanomami, particularly the uncontacted subgroups, are extremely rare, and often captured only from aerial reconnaissance missions or from a distance using telephoto lenses. Images and footage are available through Survival International, Rainforest Foundation, and various documentaries on BBC, National Geographic, and Al Jazeera English. The Yanomami are more than just an isolated tribe. They are guardians of one of Earth's last great wildernesses. Their continued existence is a powerful symbol of resistance against exploitation and erasure. You might wonder, why do these tribes remain hidden? Why haven't they joined the rest of the world? The answer lies in a mixture of choice, history, and survival. Many of these groups have experienced violence, disease, or exploitation during past encounters with outsiders. Colonialism, forced displacement, logging, and missionary activity have left deep scars. For some, isolation isn't just a preference, it's a survival strategy. A simple cold or flu, brought unknowingly by a visitor, could devastate an entire community with no immunity. Governments and organizations like Survival International have pushed for legal protections. In countries like Brazil, Peru, and India, laws exist that prohibit direct contact with uncontacted tribes, recognizing their right to remain isolated. These laws are not only about preserving culture, they're about preventing extinction. But enforcement is difficult. Illegal logging, mining, and tourism continue to creep into protected areas. In some cases, sensational media coverage has also placed tribes in danger, tempting adventurers or opportunists to make contact for fame or profit. The ethics of contact. This leads us to a critical question. Should we ever try to contact these tribes? Most experts agree the answer is no, at least not without their invitation. The world has seen too many examples of tragic first contact. Disease, displacement, cultural erasure. The short-term curiosity of the outside world can lead to long-term destruction for isolated peoples. Instead, the focus has shifted to non-intrusive protection, monitoring their territories from afar, documenting illegal intrusions, offering medical support only in dire emergencies, and ensuring that these communities can live as they choose, for as long as they choose. Some argue that no group should be left in the dark about the rest of the world. But others say, if they've stayed hidden this long, perhaps we're the ones who should be listening, not talking, watching, not intervening. Because in their silence, in their distance, they may hold wisdom that modern civilization has forgotten. How to live in balance with the land, with each other, and with time itself. In a world racing toward hyperconnectivity, where every corner of the planet is being photographed, scanned, and shared, the existence of these remote tribes challenges our assumptions about progress, civilization, and the very nature of freedom. These communities, the Sentinelese, the Korowai, the Mashco Piro, and the isolated Yanomami, have lived for generations without money, electricity, roads, or the internet. They have stories we'll never hear, gods we'll never name, and customs that will remain forever shrouded by the forest canopy or the waves that shield their islands. And maybe that's a good thing. In their continued isolation, these tribes serve as living time capsules, untouched by the systems that govern the rest of us. But more than that, they remind us of something deeper, that humanity doesn't come in just one form. That progress isn't always forward. And that the most fragile cultures on Earth may also be the most valuable. As we look to the future, toward AI, space exploration, and megacities, it's worth remembering that some of our greatest mysteries lie not on distant planets, but right here on Earth, in the forgotten corners where silence still reigns, and where people live as they have for thousands of years. If we're wise, we'll protect them. If we're humble, we'll learn from them. And if we're respectful, we'll let them be. These are the last truly uncontacted tribes of Earth. And they are, perhaps, the greatest reminder that mystery still exists, not in the stars, but in the shadows of our own world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more deep dives into Earth's hidden stories.